Hello everyone, I'm at All Hands in Ofunato, and in front of you, you can see...
I'm Chris Turner, I'm from Canada, and I'm the project director for Project Tohoku here in Ofunato.
Okay, well we're just going to have a quick sweep around here, and Chris will perhaps tell us what's going on around in this area.
So this area is our office. This is where our staff work each day. We run the project out of this office here. This is where we organize and coordinate all of our volunteers that go out in the field each day. You can see here, this is the whiteboard where we track the different types of work we have going on each day. You can see there's quite a variety of different things to do. Over here is our meeting and eating area, so all of the volunteers will gather here at the end of each day to have dinner, and then that's where we have a meeting where we go over what it is that happened that day and what's going to happen the next day.
Okay, and today is the day off, right?
Today is a day off, so you can see we have a lot of volunteers relaxing after a hard week of work.
Okay, well we're now going to go across the road and we're going to interview 4 people from the organization here. You can see all the work boots that they have. So when we can get across the road, we will interview these people. Okay, well, hello everyone. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm from UK.
Okay, where are you from?
I'm from Arizona.
Arizona, US.
Terry Martin, I'm from Chicago, Chicago, Illinois, United States.
Okay,
Kyoko or Angel, whichever one. I'm from Japan.
and Chris.
And again, I'm Chris from Canada.
Okay, now, I don't know if this is better. Okay, well, I've got questions. Most of these questions were asked by the secondary 4 group from class from the school. And the first question that I've got is, who can volunteer and how do you go about it? Chris, would you like to answer that one because you're the director?
Sure. I think anyone can volunteer. On this project, or with All Hands in particular, we don't require any specific skills or experience. You just need to be able to get yourself here and be willing to work.
Okay. What do people have to do then? Just get here and sign up and...
Well, we have an application process on our website. When we need volunteers, we'll open up a new round of applications, and you can sign up. And if we've got space for you, you just need to get yourself here.
Okay, thank you. Second question is, what skills do volunteers need? Perhaps could you answer this, Kim?
Sure. I mean, the main thing a volunteer needs is just the willingness to work. That's the only skill that's really required. If you do know things like construction or have some special skill, if you're a photographer, if you're a writer, there are all different kind of avenues you can go down to get involved in volunteering. But when it comes down to it, all you need is the desire.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, maybe this is a question for all of you. What reward do you get from the work, or why do you like being a volunteer? Would you like to answer first?
Well, normally the people whose houses we help rebuild, or whoever we perform services for, they're very generous, so in material sense we get a lot of drinks and snacks on the website, so that's really nice. But,
Okay.
Really, just it's incredible how kind and grateful people are once we've helped them, and so it's after you spend several days being really dirty, occasionally hurting yourself, and you see what you've accomplished at the end and how it's helping people's lives get back to some semblance of normalcy. It's incredibly fulfilling.
Okay, anyone else like to add a comment here on what you find fulfilling about being a volunteer?
Sure. I just feel that being able to be a part of someone's recovery into normalcy or bettering their situation is really just like we get more than we serve anytime, anywhere.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Our next question that I have is, how do people how do people fit volunteering into their daily life or work or studies? Kyoko, you were working in Tokyo, is that right?
I usually do translation work in Japan, 5 to 9, no, 9 to 5 work. And the Japanese business is really strict about taking holidays. So what I can usually do is I can usually take 1 or 2 days off in a month, and I will combine that with the weekends, and I'll come out for a weekend. I've been doing that for like the last 4 months, 5 months.
Are there many Japanese people doing this?
With this group, yeah. Many people come up just for the weekends, or they'll take like a chunk of days off once and just come up for like a few weeks, right?
Okay. And Chris and Kim, you actually work for All Hands, so you are paid a salary. I gather not a very good salary, but you.
Well, I actually spent over a year as a volunteer for All Hands before getting offered the position that does get a small stipend associated with it. I believe Chris did the same thing.
I see. Okay.
Yeah, I spent a long time as a volunteer, before I was hired as staff. But I mean, I think the key is that people can contribute whatever they're able. You know, in Kyoko's case, she can come up on weekends. We've had lots of other Japanese volunteers from Tokyo that come up with the free time that they have available. And there's other volunteers like Kerry, who was able to set aside many months of his life back in the States to come and volunteer.
Yeah.
So it's just making the best of the time that you have available.
Yeah. Kerry, what are you doing back in the States?
Well, I graduated about a year ago when I was doing branding.
Okay.
So I worked in a restaurant. And actually, I really like that. But I worked in a restaurant with the university. I think it was difficult or as good as this work here. So I was really happy to have the chance to help.
Are most of the volunteers in their 20s, maybe recently graduated and have a little bit more time before they start their careers? Is that?
That's. I mean, we have a range of ages and backgrounds, but that's the most. At least for a longer-term volunteer, that's the most common situation is someone that's recently graduated from university, in their 20s.
Okay. Next question is, how long before things return to normal in Orfanato? Who would like to answer that one? Maybe Kim or Chris, perhaps best qualified.
Yeah, I could take that one.
You've been here since the beginning, right? Since right at the start of the project.
I've been here since April 1st, which was about 3 weeks after the tsunami. I guess every day you see small steps towards things getting back to normal. You see shops reopening, you see houses being rebuilt, you see debris being cleared, but it's going to be a multi-year process before things will be considered how they used to be.
Yeah.
In Orfanato, they're looking at maybe 5 years. In other places that were more heavily affected, like the neighboring city of Rikisakata, which is essentially not there anymore, they're looking at more like 10 or more years.
So it's a long-term.
Normal, if ever, really.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. What was All Hands' main objective in Orfanato after March the 11th? Kim, how about you for this one?
I mean, the main objective is to provide assistance wherever we can. We came in and we started clearing debris from people's houses. We started trying to get the drainage systems back in working order so that people could again start using those simple precautions. Bringing food to people in temporary houses that maybe weren't getting enough food from the government. We try to go into a community and find any aspect where they could use additional help that we can be of assistance.
Okay.
So it's a vast range of
Okay.
things.
All right. I better hurry on because I think the 15 minutes are coming to an end. How many volunteers have signed up to help in Orfanato since the start?
Right now we are at right about 1,050 volunteers have come through our doors.
1,050. And some stay a shorter period, some stay a longer period.
Average stay, if you take all of the short-termers and long-termers into consideration, is about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. The longest people, how long have they stayed? Who's the
longest volunteer would be another volunteer by the name of Chris. And when did he get here?
He got here in April, so he's going on 6 months.
So he's been here 6 months. Long time. Okay. how much of Japan was unaffected by this disaster? Kyoko.
Well, directly affected was only the small area of Tohoku, but indirectly, pretty much the whole Japan got affected. Maybe just aside Okinawa, because it's a most southern island, doesn't have much to do with Tohoku.
Yeah.
But even Western Japan's, because a lot of businesses have factories and such in Eastern Japan, so even if they weren't directly affected by tsunami or earthquakes, their economy has been affected, or their life as someone has been affected
Yeah.
throughout Japan.
But the area directly affected by the tsunami physically is about 200 kilometers of coastline. Is that about right?
They call the three, in Japanese they call it Hisai Sanken, which means disaster three prefectures.
Okay.
Which is Iwate, Miyagi, Fukushima. They consider those three the most affected.
Okay, thank you.
That's more of a 600 kilometers.
600 kilometers, not right. Okay. How do you communicate if you don't know much Japanese?
A lot of hand gestures I find helps, or grabbing someone that speaks Japanese to translate for me.
Uh-huh.
Is also very effective.
Okay. Where do the survivors live?
Well, many of them live in the house that they were in before. Many of them live in the upstairs portion, so it's just the downstairs portion that was damaged. A lot have gone out to stay with relatives, friends, and family, and there are temporary houses that have been built to take those in that don't have anywhere else to go.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Evacuation centers as well.
Sorry?
Evacuation centers as well.
Okay.
People still live in it.
Okay. And what was your first impression when you arrived at the disaster area? Chris, I'll ask you first because you've been here the longest. I think we better be very, very brief because I'm sure the 15 minutes is coming to an end. Your first impression?
The first impression was shock. I've been doing this type of work for a while now. I've been in areas soon after a disaster, but I've never seen anything quite like this before. There was just so much stuff that had been displaced by the waters. Like there was cars on top of buildings, there was houses just picked up and put somewhere else, sometimes kilometers away from where they started. It was just unimaginable how much destruction there was and just how many things were scattered everywhere.
Any other comments on this?
Yeah, it seemed just very unreal. I had a very similar reaction as Chris did. When you see, it was as if somebody had a fake city and had blown on it, and all the houses tumbled away in different directions. It was hard to connect that to reality that these are real houses.
Yeah, it's a little bit different now, isn't it? Because most of the debris is being cleared away, and you can see the foundations of the houses, but there isn't all that mess anymore. I've seen a few things in odd places, like boats smashed against a wall or something, but not what I saw on the TV when it first happened.
Yeah, it depends a lot on where you are too. We're in Ofinato right now, which is ahead of the curve in clearing debris. Most has been at least moved by now, but there's other cities that are further behind where you can still see some of the shocking images of soon after.
Okay, and the last question, perhaps the most difficult one to answer: what is the most horrible thing you've seen up to now in Japan? Of course, you may not want to answer this question because it is quite a delicate one, but if anyone would like to say something, this was a question from Primary 5. The last 3 questions have been from Primary 5. Obviously, they have more gruesome imaginations.
I mean, I just spoke about some of the horrific images I saw when I first arrived, but what stays with me is not what's horrible. What sticks with me is what is more the inspiring and uplifting things I've seen, not what's been horrible.
Okay.
From day one, I've just been so impressed by how hard everybody has been working to get their city back to how it used to be. From just 3 weeks after the tsunami, talking to people, nobody was dwelling in the past. Nobody was dwelling on what had been lost. Everybody was thinking about the future, thinking about what they had to do to get things back to normal. That's really inspiring to me.
Okay. Shall I leave it like that?
Yeah.
I think we won't dwell on the negatives. Okay, well, Kim, Kerry, Kyoko, and Chris, thank you very, very much for taking part in this. And remember, this is going to Spain, so that you'll be watched by some classes of children there in Spain.
Hi, everyone.
Okay,
Hola.
adios, I guess. Adios. All right, bye-bye.